Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the whole process that we use to create content briefs. This exact process is what you can use for your own in-house writers, or if you outsource your content to content writing services, or if you're just starting out and writing your own content. It's a simple but effective process that helps us avoid miscommunications with the writers and overall makes it easier on both ends. So before we get started, don't worry about the content brief template. We will add that in the resources section down below, so you can just download it from there. Okay, now let's get started. First, you want to put in a title for your content brief so you can edit the name of the Google Doc and put in the topic that you want to write about. This makes it easier for documentation purposes for you and your writer. So for my content brief, I've already added in benefits of vitamin C serum here, and that should be it. So the next thing that you want to do is to fill out your target word count so that you or your writers know how many words to strive for. If you haven't watched Matt's video yet on word count, you can just click the video in the resources section down below. Once you figure out the target word count, you're going to want to add in your keyword research instructions with your TF-IDF recommendations. We also have a TF-IDF video, which we talk about in detail. You can also watch the video in the description down below. So for this part, we suggest using Google Docs so you can easily link your content brief and your keyword research together, which I will show you right now. So I already got an online spreadsheet here with all the TF-IDF recommendations that I want. And you just need to click the button here, share. Make sure it's set on anyone on the internet with this link can edit, and then just copy the link. And then that's the link that you want to use on your content brief. So whoever has access to this content brief also has access to the TF-IDF recommendations. So you don't need to reshare emails. You can just pass along this document and everyone can use it easily. As for the TF-IDF analysis for your own content brief, we have a separate video as well for it. You'll be able to watch it by going through the video description down below. So the next step is the tone and writing style of the article. So for our affiliate sites, we typically want to use a friendly but research-intensive tone. This makes us look more credible and be more trustworthy in the eyes of our readers. So you definitely want to add it in there. We also give out instructions about our writing style. So most of our affiliate sites are USA-based, so we tell our writers to write in American English. But if you're writing for a different geolocation, then you can definitely add that in here. And if you're writing your own content, these are just basically notes for you. And lastly, we want consistency when it comes to our own content. If we have one persona for the site, then we want to add that information in here. So everyone accessing the content brief knows that we are only working with one persona. And if you have multiple personas, that's perfectly fine. You can definitely indicate that here. So if they're writing content and you want to refer to yourself as us or we, then you can definitely tell your writers that, or you can just add that note in here as well if you're writing your own content. Okay, so next one is the article intent. So with this section, you want to give out details on what you're actually trying to achieve with your content. So for product reviews, as an example, you can put it in your content brief if you want a positive or a negative review of the product, or maybe you want a fair review of the product, but then you want to cross-sell a different product in the end. That's perfectly fine. You just need to add it in here. And another thing that you want to include in these instructions is to not write fluff content. This is a very common thing when we see these days. We see a lot of writers writing fluff content just to get to the target word count, which is something that you don't want to do for your own content. Fluff content pieces are mostly repetitive and low quality, which is going to be bad for both SEO and your readers. You want your content to be detailed, but you don't want to go overboard with it, right? And then the next one here are the previous content examples. So when it comes to our affiliate sites, we always recommend having dedicated writers for your site because it's easier to maintain the quality and the consistency in writing that way. But not everyone has that. A lot of people actually use content writing services, which is totally fine. But I would recommend finding the best pieces of content on your site, then using those as the benchmark right here so that your current writer or the current service that you're using can see those examples and they can try to match that, or they have a reference for the content that they're going to be writing. Obviously, if you're writing your own content, this doesn't really apply to you. And then lastly, the content structure. So for the content structure, this is where you'll be putting the content outline or your content structure so that you or your writers can follow how you want the content to go. As far as the subtopics itself that you want to cover, I will be teaching that in a different video, which you can check out down below. And as you can see, this template tells the writer to write the content on this Google Doc right here. This allows you to get an update in real time and see how far along your content is. Having everything in one place and in your Google Doc makes it so much easier because it reduces the back and forth between you or your writers. You can easily check everything that's going on with your content right here. And then finally, there are a couple more important videos related to content requests that you need to watch before you can move forward with this process. They're all in the video description down below, so don't miss them.